And this is my buddy Kevin, as some of you may know, named Beaner. My good buddy here is in Louisville, Kentucky. This is where he is from as well, which is awesome. Louisville, Kentucky, represent.
The Bill.
He is always running around, all these crazy adventures, traveling all of the time, all over the United States and internationally, I should point out. A total celebrity here in the United States. I wanted to go ahead and introduce you guys, and then we're going to get talking about this kick-ass chopper, and as always, I'm going to be firing up that bike for you so you can hear them, so you can hear that beautiful bike actually running. As I said, this is my buddy Kevin, but he's definitely more well-known as the name Beaner. Take it away, Beaner.
Yeah, everybody knows me as Beaner. I'm Beaner. I'm the mayor of fun. They call me that. Everywhere I go, I have fun. This is right now. I built it 2.5 miles on it. It was wore out. It was a 97 Road King that I chopped back in 2002. That motorcycle is now in the National Motorcycle Museum in Anamosa, Iowa, on display. I had to build something to take its place. This is what I built. It started as a 2010 Ultra Classic, but really I didn't use any part off of that except for part of the frame and the rocker boxes and part of the clutch. It was a bad accident, so I really couldn't use too much of it. We built it from the bare frame, and we took a late model Harley frame and modified it heavy. This is the main focal point. We rode up to Ron Finch's house. Some of y'all may know the Finchman himself. Ron's been doing custom bikes since the 60s. He's a metal sculptor and painter artist and a bike builder. And we did that on a Sunday morning, about 8 hours worth of work, and then brought it back here to Louisville, where I finished it off with the help of Frank Kalin and made it work.
Can you guys see this? Look at this trick frame here. Look at how cool this is. Peter was just explaining this was done locally by a local sculptor. Where was this done?
Ron Finch is in Pontiac, Michigan.
Okay, so Michigan guy.
You can Google Finch and Beaner, and you'll see a video of us putting the frame together and twisting the metal. The cool thing about this, it took me about 4 months to build. It's got a 1937 Chevrolet headlight that I got off of eBay. It's got a 54 Oldsmobile tail light that Dirty Dave with Exile Cycles gave me. That was the first part I got for the bike. I actually built the bike around his tail light. I thought it was such a cool tail light. It inspired me, and I had a vision, and this is what the vision is. The funny thing about this bike, the chopper guys think it's nothing but a bagger. And the bagger guys hate it because it's a chopper. But you know what? It really works good for me because it's a rider. And I've been already, this bike's been to Canada several times, Mexico, across the United States several more times. And that's what it's going to get more of. I've already put 100,000 miles on it in 2.5 years. I did park it for 4 months while I went to Asia 2 years ago. And rode around 7 countries in Asia while this was just sitting. And then I came back and couldn't believe how big I built this after riding a Honda 100 over there. But this really suits me. I love choppers. I love riding choppers. And I love riding more than most people to the extent I like to do a minimum of 500 miles a day, day in, day out. And so with a bike like this, I can do it. It's got all the full suspension. It's a 12 over front end with a 23-inch front wheel from Renegade wheels. I use those. It's got floorboards. So on my first bike I learned, I'm not going to have a grandpa motorcycle with floorboards unless it'll move. So this motor is a 96 cubic inch motor that I punched out to 103. I use fueling parts, all the high volume oil pump, the cam. It's got a 574 lift cam. It's really good cam from fueling. I'm really happy with that. Sam's Performance in Charleston, South Carolina, they flowed my heads, so the thing breathes great. It's got a stock 6-speed. Like I say, also, it uses Bagger Works did this drop seat kit. My last bike, I cut the frame and welded this. Well, here, Bagger Works, they made this. the frames bolt. So you actually, it drops. I had to do this on my own back in the old days. Well, now they make this that bolts on. This drops 3.5 inches. Still use the stock battery, fits in there. And the side covers, my old one never had them, but I couldn't make those. So now they do that. It even came with the seat from Corbin seat is the one for that. So I dropped my seat 3 inches. I love the line of that. If that doesn't say chopper, what, you know? And it sits so much nicer. But the thing is, I got all my suspension, so I didn't drop it on the ground. And it's comfortable bike. I throw all my stuff behind it. I can ride this bike. So
I know. I love that it's got that great, chopper vibe, chopper style, but you've made it a super mile killer. You've made it like you even just said, 500 miles in a day. I can see that being no problem on this bike.
It really is. And you got to be able to do stuff when you get done with that day. Besides limp back to a motel or much less a tent and then get up the next day and do it again over and over. I've done all 3 cannonballs. I'm getting ready to do the next cannonball cross country with them.
For the people that don't know, what is the cannonball?
It's an antique motorcycle rally. This year it's going to be 1915 and earlier motorcycles. 100-year-plus motorcycles going across the country where they do 250 to almost 300 miles a day, 100% on back roads. That's the tough part. And so I'll stop and help some of them along the way, and next thing you know, I'm behind schedule. I got to haul ass to get done for the day. And then I wake up. 17 days it takes to get across the United States with them. So that's 17 days of riding, a good 10-hour day every day.
That's a pretty legit cross-country road trip on a 100-year-old
and I just
bike
support them. I'm not actually doing the ride, so my hat's off to those guys. They're really doing some stuff there.
So I've got a question coming in from Robert. Doesn't the wind still burn you out? How do you feel about having that big open front end up there? You don't have any wind protection, Beaner.
Well, it's with the way. See how it already, look how high the tank is. So right there, that's going to throw the wind up. With this came off a road glide. I needed an instrument cluster, right? But it kind of makes a mini fairing. So, in the rain, I rode here, it was raining. I stayed dry. You duck under here, and now that wind's going over. You don't wear the hat, though. You don't wear that for that. But, you duck in there, and you cut the wind. So, it's not that bad.
Nice. Oh, good. Well, glad we could answer your question there, Robert. We appreciate it. If you guys do have any more questions, feel free to type them in. The neat thing about these live streams is I actually can see what you all are typing and all of your comments and stuff. So if you've got questions, don't be afraid to let us know. I'm more than happy to ask Beaner.
And it's pronounced Beaner. You can see how it's spelled. Now, on the way here from South Carolina yesterday, I got in town last night. I got to leave tomorrow. I'm going to Ohio Bike Week. But this fell off. So I learned that 2 zip ties works great for these little arm joints. Yeah, it just holds it together. Without that, it falls out, and it just nothing to hold it in there. Then you don't have to worry about it. It'll be good for another 50,000 miles before I get it. I do want to trim these off, though, the little tails off. I don't want to,
I know, you got to.
I don't want to look bad. I'm a fancy guy.
So I've got another question coming in from Anthony, and he wants to know about how much cash do you think this bike has set you back?
I've had a lot of help with sponsors. I had Clockworks give me a bunch of the sheet metal. This is their dash and fender stuff. Bagger Works did the drop seat. Renegade Wheels. HH&I did the brakes for me. Finch and them helped me on the frame. Like I said, fueling. I had Jim's help me with the motor. I had a shop down in Miami called Hog Heaven Cycle. An old-time friend down there helped me out. And it's still, all that, I probably got $10,000 to $15,000 my own money. And like I said, I bought a wrecked motorcycle for $3,000, and I still spent probably $10,000 to $15,000 in it. But it's a one of a kind.
Yeah. I think it's completely worth it. As you've said, you've gone across America a handful of times on this bike. And as we were just discussing, no wind protection or anything. Beaner is out there just kicking ass and eating the miles on this bike. Your buddy Bobby wants to know where your boots are at.
I thought this was a radio broadcast. I didn't know people were going to be watching me. I would have wore something special. I just wore my everyday clothes today. Sorry.
Hey, Laura Clark, we're going to talk about his new book in just 1 second. And I think Jimmy just posted, and he wants to know, what's your top speed on this bike?
It was on a course, a race course. First, let me put the disclaimer out there. I would never break the speed limit on any street, or highway. However, I was on a closed course with someone that had it was a metric cruiser, but it was one of those with the big Yamaha engines, and he was doing 130, and I was keeping up.
Okay.
So this does roll pretty good. What I like, it cruises. When I put the fueling cam and I use fueling Beehive springs too, and flowed the heads in a Mikuni carburetor. This bike I thought was acting like it was stuck in 5th gear. It pulls that hard in 6th gear. So at 80 miles an hour in 6th gear, I can twist the throttle and I can pass people good.
Nice.
I mean, instant. Like you're downshifting. And that's what I think a Harley's supposed to be. Or a big twin motor should always have the torque. It's not about horsepower. It's about twist the throttle and throwing back in the seat and going.
Absolutely.
And that's what this bike does. And this bike weighs 840 pounds.
You said 840 pounds?
840 pounds.
That's not bad for a big bagger.
It's big.
Yeah.
It is big.
No, I mean, I don't know if people can tell quite exactly how big this bike really is, because you're a pretty tall dude, but this bike is a really pretty good size. That big wheel in the front up there, that's a 23?
That's a 23 from Renegade Wheels.
So this is a really pretty legit, really good size bagger.
It's a 12-inch over front end, but it doesn't look that big because of the front wheel.
Alrighty, and then we've already discussed Beener, because you are an international celebrity, an international traveler. I'd like to take a moment, because not only do you ride bikes, not only are you absolutely a huge personality for us here in the United States and abroad, you are also an author, and you just released your second book.
Yeah, that's another good thing about bags. You carry your books around when you're doing book signings. This is my second book that just came out. It's Beener Rambles the Orient. And what I did, you can read it on the back of the book, is I went to Vietnam. I flew to Ho Chi Minh City, which used to be called Saigon. I went over with a one-way plane ticket because I didn't really know what I was going to do. I found a motorcycle on Craigslist for $300, and I took off, and I rode around 7 countries in Asia for 4 months. That's what this book's about. And you'll see a lot of the pictures of all the crazy stuff. This $8 motel. That's how cheap it was over there. So I didn't even have to camp. I mean, if I can get a motel for $8, I'm staying in a motel. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm getting old, but, you know. I did go swimming where there was no swimming. I wore my Marine Corps shirt everywhere, and that was super cool. They didn't have a problem with that. I went to temples like the White Temple in Thailand.
Nice.
You know,
We've got a lot of people clicking that like button, and we do appreciate it, because you're absolutely right. Massive respect for you from Mr. Daniel Hopkins out there. Richard Fastbutt Green wants to know that you are righteous. You absolutely are an inspiration to us. I'm glad that we had a chance to catch up and talk. Can you let the people know where they can track down that book?
I can sure do that. It's everythingbeener.com. That's my website from me. And I'll sign it, throw in a couple stickers, and we'll stay in touch with Facebook. Hopefully we'll do some riding together.
I love that. Well, the crowd has been going wild for you, Mr. Beener. And
all right.
It's time to fire up this bike.
Yeah.
We want to listen to that bike. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in.
I use a Reinhardt exhaust 2-in-1.